Hello and welcome to Film and Game Composers. I am your host Meena Shamaly, and in this video we are looking at Sample Logic's Morphestra 2, the sequel, the bigger, the better, expanding upon the original. We had Morphestra 1 and then a redesign in Morphestra Generation, so you can call that an in-between-quel. But yeah, they've gone back, recorded a whole bunch of new materials, added a whole bunch of things, redesigned the interface entirely, and kind of redesign the whole system. So what I thought I would do is, rather than say, well, you know, Morphestra 1 had this, so Morphestra 2 gonna have this, or Generations had this, so Morphestra 2 has this, they've gone through this massive redesign that is very hard to kind of pin it back down to the original Morphestra, because it now looks and feels a lot different. Sounds just as spectacular and even better at this point. And I had the original Morphestra and Morphestra Generations, so it's to me, however, with Sample Logic specifically, it can be a little hard to cover the changes rather than just look at this as a separate library. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at Morphestra 2 as a separate library. As if you were buying Morphestra right now, you would get Morphestra 2 that had all the stuff from Morphestra 1 and Morphestra Generations, and just cover it from there. And if you have a look from the website, it costs $499.99, so it's about $500 to get it new. And you can get a cross-grade price depending on what you've got. I didn't check into that, but because obviously I got this as an NFR copy, so yeah. But the opinions are still my own. If that NFR thing is a grain of salt for you, then take it as you will. But you can listen to what I've got to say and listen to the instrument and decide for yourself. This is how I like to do it. I was going to write up this review, but the library is a little too much fun. So I was like, nah, you got to get in on the fun with me. So yeah. Now, a quick thing. What is it? It's basically an cinematic orchestra recordings and a whole bunch of other materials. Not just orchestra, but the big section, I suppose, is orchestra. And they run through the Sample Logic engine, so to speak. They have basically variations on the same engine and with new features, and then it can become a sound design library. So it can serve several purposes, and it's got about over 25 gigabytes of material. You don't need the full version of Kontakt to use it, so you can use it with the free player. But I do recommend the full version, because then you can get extra tweaky if you want to. And I find sometimes that I want to, and I like to go behind the scenes. So, yeah, so let's get into it. Let's see what $500 actually buys you. All right. So here I've just got a preset loaded up. Actually, no, I'll just load it up from the get-go. And this is what you load it up, and this is what it comes like. Now you see over here under instruments, multis are like from back in the Morphestra 1 and Morphestra Generations. Those don't actually exist in Morphestra 2 because everything is housed within one patch. So your preset browser is within the patch. So imagine you loaded up something like Omnisphere and then loaded up all the patches, all the presets through that. This is kind of the same idea, and I kind of like it. I do enjoy the idea of going through patches, but I like the idea of being able to switch through the patches within the one, between the presets within the one patch. So, once you get it, I don't think the initial thing is anything particular, but you open it up and it sounds like this. So, I'll open it up, and you can see there's several things to go through here. I can't go through the whole thing because it's kind of massive, but I'll try to get you to the main points. So, first thing, here is your preset, your instrument browser, because this works on several levels. So, instrument browser, you can go single core and multi-core. So, single core is the equivalent of your instruments, multi-core is the equivalent of your multis. And let me just open up. Actually, let's go with a multi-core because they're nice and cool, and they're pretty cool. So, say for example, I'll start with a loop, right? I really enjoy this one, Catch Me If You Can. And you can just keep scrolling through. But if I close the browser, this is a multi-core preset. And if I just play a note, So there's several things happening here. You got 4 different cores. Each of them has 2 different sound sources, and over here, this little lovely XY controller seems to move through them. Let me see if it's the same. No, it's not the same XY controller. This is like a master XY controller. This is the sound source XY controller, or the instrument. I suppose the instruments? Yeah, no, the sound sources. There's a sound core and a sound source, and then the instruments. So each sound source, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 cells, has 2 sound cores. So 2 parts that make up the sound. And as you can see, it just moves between them. So if I turn off, for example, 1, 2, 3, and 4, so you only hear 1. Do you see how that goes? And then if I just turn on 2, that's a really cool way of creating movement. If I turn on just 3, and if I turn on just 4, so if I turn on just 1 of 4, you'll just hear this big, nice drum loop. And then so that's a lot of cool stuff. Now, if you see here, I can also switch between these 2 sound sources. You got a little nice MW button which says mod wheel. So, say for example, I'll just turn on core 1. So right now this is all you're hearing. And if you don't want the movement, you can just stop it here. So now just focus on core 1. And this way, this is actually a single core. It's just this right here. And you can switch this view over here and focus in on the single core. So you can get a multi, really like a part of it, and then just single out that part. And this is your single core. And so obviously what you can do here is you can mix it up. At the moment, it's balanced between these 2 sound sources. Oh God, which one's a core? Which one's a source? I don't even know anymore. So yeah, anyway, so sound source. Sound core is the 2 sound sources. Yep, that's what I meant. Okay, so I apologize. There's a lot to this. It's massive. So basically, it's right now balanced between the 2. I can shift the balance. So now it's doing both of them. And if I go to the mod wheel, I can just switch between them with the mod wheel. So you can do so you can do some really cool stuff. And I believe there's a morph animator, which here you can preset. So I think it could do that automatically. And so you got some presets over. Oh, what's going on? There you go. I have to click it on here, not here. So out and in. So these are all presets, and you can edit it. Where is the? No, that's the sound source. What am I looking at? You can record it yourself, actually. There we go. This is what I was looking for. Yeah. So you can just create your own blend. Say for example, I'll go like this, and the speed, I'll make it 1/16. So if I make it 1/8, it'll go slower. So you can really, really get in on this. and just go back to whatever you want. Anyway, so trash this, and now just got back to the normal one. Oops, I accidentally deleted the sound source. Yeah, but that's kind of the basic thing. And we get back to here, load up, say, another instrumental. No, another loop. I like these loops. So I think the other thing that you're getting isn't just the Sample Logic guys' sound design philosophies, but you're also getting their musical philosophies, so to speak, in the presets that they create. And sometimes you can watch the Sample Logic videos. This is sometimes what I find. I've watched the Sample Logic videos, and a lot of the demos have a certain sound to them, which might just be the way the presets are recorded or the way the presets are played, which gives you, the perspective of a few people. But the beautiful thing is that they have offered so much customization. As you can see, we just went into the one core, customized the hell out of it, and you get a lot to do. So, and I can go into that with some of the single core ones. So stuff like that. And see here, for example, this XY controller isn't working, so all the movement is housed within these cores. Yeah, there's a lot here. And this is if you go back to this sound core, this single core view, you can do the exact same thing that you can do here. So they've got it's again, I suppose the only true reference I have is Omnisphere, because Omnisphere has this whole like magnifying glass, this whole, you can edit this with all these little controls, or you can magnify and just go into it and really really cover a lot of ground with this, and which is not a bad way to be at all. And in fact, I always wish that everything would just be a lot more like Omnisphere. So when an instrument has its own personality but borrows these good organizational ideas and presentational ideas from something like Omnisphere, I'm very glad. And that's what I hope could be the industry standard. And I find a lot more of these sound design libraries and developers like Sample Logic, like Impact Soundworks, like some of these other ones, who put as much in the interface as possible to make it easier for you to customize. So yeah. So for example, here, I think what we're getting is a step animator. And we've covered the step animator in the Arpology review. I think I did sometime last year or the year before. But that's where the step animator comes from, and it seems to have become part and parcel with all their newer libraries and their redesign libraries like Morphestra 2. So if I turn it off, it seems these are already loops in there, as you can see. So if I go into each sound source on its own, you got loops, but the step animator can further animate the loops. So it's really cool that you could do that. And I'm not going to go into the step animator because that's a whole other topic. But it's fantastic. And basically, even if you don't use it, you won't regret buying Morphestra, is my opinion, really, after having played with this library for some time. And yeah, so let's go find out some more multi-cores. I'll just maybe select a couple more loops and check it out. So infinite loop. So again, does that have the step animator? No. So these loops are already self-contained. So if I went into to explore each part of it, and what do we got here? What do we got? Let me go into the synth core. And are these loops on their own? Yes, they're loops on their own. So what they've done is combine these loops in very creative ways. And if I turn 2 on, I just keep wondering, I suppose, if the animation is just part of the loop. And that's something you can explore, really. That's just... And then what do you got here? That's your drums. And that keeps the loop grounded. So that's pretty cool. And already what you can do is just glean a lot of great ideas and maybe just combine parts of this, of these sources with other parts. So for example, I could just go, if I wanted to use this loop in some way, I'll use this, and I could maybe put in the drums. And already this is very different because this is already different than what we've got here. Or if we can just do this, and I'll select a different loop. So the thing is, people always worry about loops locking you into what they do or being an easy cheat kind of thing, but that's not the issue. The fact is, awesome loops are awesome to have. For me, awesome loops are awesome to have, and they are another gateway to creativity. You should never feel locked in. I think you should always have your creativity unlocked by the tools, and I suppose that's also a matter of perspective, and that's another topic for another day, but never feel that the loops are locking you in some way is my message, I suppose. So something like, let's have a look, Live Fire. So again. And already with the Morph Animator, I suppose, I think that's what they're calling it. I'll just switch it to the single. Where? New. Mistakenly clicked the other one. So say, for example, if I switched it to the single core view, which disappears for some reason. I'm not sure why. That's interesting. I only have number 2. If I turn this off, I'm not sure why it disappears. It might be a graphical bug. That's really strange. I mean, like I kind of experienced it, but I wasn't sure if I was doing something wrong. But it seems to be that if number 1 isn't engaged, it won't let me edit the other 2. I think this is just for number 1. I'm not sure if it's a bug or if it's intended that way, but I feel that maybe you're bigger. That's interesting. That's probably something I would like to be able to do, is just have a way of switching. I'm not sure if I'm doing something wrong, and I'm open to being corrected on that. But again, not a showstopper. But I would like to be able, like, you could control a lot of the same things from here, but I can't. And you can expand these areas. So this is just a magnified version of this, really, in most cases. Yeah, but that's just a little strange. It's a bit of a strange choice that you couldn't actually just do that. Could be part of the design philosophy. I don't know. But anyway, that's... I can still do everything in this view that I can do in this view. So I'm not really complaining. I just really find it strange. So yeah, unless there was an update that I missed that had that, I'm not sure. This is the only version I've had. But anyway, if my information seems to be a little outdated, there might have been an update that did that or changed that. I don't know, but this is my point of contention. So I'll turn off. And turn these. See, I like this. This is already pretty cool. Ooh, that was. And if I turn on the step animator and start going. And I think you could do something like, there's a stutter somewhere. Can't remember. There you go. This is stutter rate. And stutter panning. You can actually select the stutter somewhere. I can't remember where. We'll need to play with this again a bit more. There we go. Stutter. So stutter. There you go. So that's so you got your loop, you got your animator and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I spent a lot of time on loops. That's just not really the whole point of the library. So again, with more multi-cores, if I go instrumentals, instrumentals is pretty cool. It seems with the multi-core you find a lot of arpeggiated things or step animated things, which if I turn off. So if I go here, but they are tempo sync to an extent. There's things that happen that are tempo sync. And this again gives you a window into the philosophy that is employed by the sample logic guys. I suppose the composer philosophy or the sound design, not the sound design because they've already designed the sounds, but then the preset design, which can be a lot more, it can be a lot more, musically driven rather than sonically driven, if you know what I mean. So it's like, okay, I'll provide you this preset that does this thing and, stutters rhythm at this point and, loops at this point. That's pretty cool. And you've got the exact same freedom to do that. So Ancient Intellect, for example. Again, I'm not playing everything because I couldn't play everything without you staying here for maybe 3 or 4 hours. So if you look at it again, what we're looking at, we've got basically with this XY control you can create this on the fly balance. And you can map the CCs, map it to 2 CCs to actually control that, which if you have a mapping controller, a touch control, an iPad controller or something, which I recently started using with my iPhone. I would get an iPad, but I can't be bothered right now. You can actually assign these 2 CCs. So you got CC 18 for X and CC 19 for Y. So you can basically design that. For example, I'll put this to 22. What are you doing? Ooh. .22, which is just a ribbon controller on my keyboard. And now I'm using the ribbon controller to move the X axis. And just for fun, can I use the pitch bend for that? No, probably not. For what? That would be cool if I could do that, but I could then transform pitch bend into another CC. So, say for example, we'll just make that mod wheel. So CC1. So right now, oh, sorry, there you go, mod wheel. It's a bit awkward the way I'm doing it. It's just because my other controls aren't in front of me at the moment. So, so you can do that. But you can, say for example, this is just balance between all 4 sound sources. And you can just balance between those top and bottom ones. Which could be a cool way to use this. So, yeah, let me just change it back to 1819. What are you doing? That's a bit weird, like that I can't highlight this. But yeah, anyway. Let me just reload that patch. Just to get it back to what it was. So you can see there's some cool stuff in there. Epcot Center. Just let it load. So if you have a listen to the sound sources again, we've got some cello, pizzicato, muse metal, trombones, some reverses and some synth stuff, and a mix of clarinets and I think some old Roman percussion winds. So say for example, if I just again turn off the chorus. So see here what you're hearing is an LFO on the filter, which can be, see if I turn it off. That's part of the sound. So I'll turn that off just for now. So as you can see, this is again what you get in the single core view. It's exactly the same. I could do it from here, I could do it from here. So see if I see filter, and it's the same controls, just a lot more expanded. And you can hear the pizzicato, and I think there's a reverb and a full reverb on the master. That's a really interesting pizzicato. And if I get this, just cello. So as you can see, we're not going to be using this as an orchestral. It says Morphestra, but it's not used as with orchestral, with articulations, all that kind of stuff. It's more, how can we use these orchestral sounds in an interesting sound design kind of way? Which is a bit, when you say, "Oh, sound design," what is sound design? It can be a bit of everything. It's one of those terms. I think some people use it differently. There's sound design for movies where you create Foley and that kind of thing. But then there's also sound design in music, which is how can we make sounds more cool and interesting, and so it's a whole other thing. Anyway, so I'll go into the second sound. So as you can see here, Roman Saga. Actually, let me turn this up a little bit. It's a nice little clarinet. And I'm guessing I can mess with the attack. I'll keep the attack as is. This is a nice convolution. So you can go convolution reverb per sound core. So you got per sound core? Yes, sound core. I really like this. And maybe a bit of the Roman Saga. So, because I'm not such a big fan. And you see these little letters, that means instrumental, and they're color coded. So I always like little organizational things like that. When I try to organize things, I try to keep things as categorized and color coded as possible. Sometimes. So here now you can. It starts to sound like a bit like a little woodwind section. But I do like this, just the sound source on so. It's got a real cool part to it. So number 3. Again, so you can make your own choices. And number 4. So I think, see, now I've redesigned this preset. I'll turn off 1 as well. You can turn off 4. It becomes a nice little pad. See what we've done? We've redesigned this beautiful multi-core into something completely different. And that's because Sample Logic, through the interface, have given you the tools to do so. And that's what I am really enjoying. So this is a nice and grating kind of thing. Gated community, more like grated community. Oh, God, I wish I thought of that joke as I said it. But see, I might like the idea of this, but may not like the sound so much. So, see that buzzer, for example, that might be it. No, it's not it. That's the sawtooth. So you get not a fan of that buzzer thing. I can just go in and change this sound source to like not a waveform, an instrumental, a synth instrumental, vintage space, whatever it is. Now, I've used the idea, kept as is, but just changed one part of the sound. So that to me is mighty powerful. And here with the way I could go with another synth waveform. So this way, I've used the idea of the preset or the patch without having to deal with part of the sound that I didn't quite like. Again, that is mighty powerful. So in a way, you can load up a multi-core, get to work, be like, okay, cool, I like this rhythm, I'll change this, quick, a couple of keystrokes. In a minute, you've got a sound that you can use that is still yours. You've been aided, yes, but it is by no means all pre-decided for you, and neither are you stuck. And here, so you can even turn off the sample animator. And you can always go with, say, for example, turn off these chords, and then go into the into this. So this is I can just go with the filters, and I could just map that to the mod wheel. What did I do? Oops. It seems to have... I'm not sure what it's doing there. Why can't I map it? Okay. So it seems to have locked into 81. So something on my keyboard is moving for some reason. But what I can do is this parameter in this little kind of thing. I could just go back to number 1. What are you doing? Okay, remove. I don't know why this keeps getting engaged. Let me try. Okay, this might be an issue with my keyboard. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reload Morphestra. And I've also got 3 keyboards happening in here, like one main one, two smaller ones. And I'm not quite sure which of them is doing that. So if I go back to instrumentals, what was it? Gated community. That seems to be part of the... There we go. That makes more sense. That's part of the patch. It's using MIDI CCs to control all these things. Okay, that makes some semblance of sense. Yeah, that makes. Okay, so if I turn this off and go back into this, that's fine. I'll just go with I'll go with whatever that buzzing sound was and get rid of the animator. Now I can control this with the mod wheel if I want to. There we go. Oh god, I feel. And the cool thing is, if you go through here, so see under Files, Libraries, you go Auto and MIDI Automation, you can control the amount. So you can make the mod wheel only operate from 50% up to 100%. So it only covers this part of the filter. Or you can make it go from 0 to about 40%. The way you can do on a synth, you can kind of like... turn the resonance up as well. And if I go with just the buzzer, and if I turn off the velocity, there we go. Now we can control the... and go. So this kind of brings you into the synthesizer world. If you have a hardware synthesizer or even a software synthesizer, you can do that kind of stuff. and I'll go maybe here from about 15% up to maybe 50. So you can really hone in, and this is one of the powerful things in Kontakt that you can do. Spitfire Audio actually have a whole video on how to do this with Christian Henson. Yes, that's what I meant. Christian Henson going through how to do this with a whole bunch of things. So it's really cool. So that's a Kontakt thing which you can do. And yeah, so that is some of the instrumental multi-cores. Maybe I'll find a couple more. He is the hero. So there's a lot of strings in there. And the cool thing is, because, so again, I'd like to turn off and explore the sound. So here you've got two different sound sources from strings. I think these might have been from the original recordings, but then that's not part of the part of what I'm doing. So if I go string small, and again, the whole point isn't, and the attack is really up high here. So the sound sources are really cool, and then you can layer them with another. I suppose you can, like, let me add another Kontakt in here, and add in something like Albion. I've only got the original Albion, so it doesn't really. I don't have Albion 1 quite yet. I will do that at some point. Say, for example, I'll load up the ensemble patch, string ensemble, and we will load up this long, and load this up. This is just to combine it with something else. So say, for example, Morphestra 2 sounds like this. And it's not really responsive to mod wheel to control it like something like the Albion would be. So let me put this down a little bit. There. Okay, so let me put this down. And let me combine them. So I'll play them both at the same time. All right, so say, for example, I'll put the... I see it evolves into this higher octave now. Now you can actually make Morphestra 2 react the same way as a traditional string library in a sense. So say, for example, here we've got in this expanded view, which if we just take the single core view just to make it clear, the expanded view, you can go with the filter. It says velocity to high cut. So we don't need to do. So this is what it sounds like. Now, with the high cut, which is like your low pass filter, I'll learn the MIDI automation. So obviously, it takes up the whole thing. If I go down here, I'll make it go from about 40% to 100. And obviously, it sounds very much like a synth filter, because it is a synth filter. The thing about it is, you can change the type of filter, but you have to go behind the scenes. So if you don't have the full version of Kontakt, you might not be able to. But I suppose the other thing is, in the group editor, to actually reach it, you have to, because it has all the sounds loaded, so you have to actually find out which of these sounds it is, and then go into the group insert effects and change this to like a one, like LP1, which would be just a one pole and makes it sound a bit more natural, a bit less synthy. But anyway, that's besides the point. Let's just pretend this is cool. Actually, maybe even start off from 60%. Actually, no. I think 40% was nice. So right now, it's still a synthy kind of thing. What you can also do is make the mod wheel control this and put it up to maybe like 75%. This is it. So from about 25% to 75%. So and now combine that with Albion. And even put Albion up a little more. Combine together. It just adds a bit of an edge. Just a little extra thing. Now, that's a bit tangential, but you get my point, I hope. So if I just reload the presets, so we just undo all of what we just did. And we can even just remove the automations. Because again, this is all part of the same preset. So you'd have to actually reload the patch. Sorry, it's part of the same patch, so you'd have to reload the patch to reset these automations. Anyway, that's going into too much. But yeah, if you just use it on its own, and we're looking at the cores, again, I really like to explore the cores. And this Sanctuary Solace, which is the other one. So that's combining two different string instruments. String ensembles. So you see what it does there. Oh yeah, and velocity intensity as well kind of controls the sensitivity, which I should have changed as well in the last example. But that's fine. You clearly get the idea that you can do a lot there. So here, you get something like, I think this is more vocal. And I would go and change the attack and make it even. I might not even change the velocity to make. Just keep this quality about it. So now you put them together. What's number 4? That's really cool on its own. I like it. That's part of the step animator. Which kind of keeps that. I like this, so maybe combine. You can change the filter on it. And so again, it's using these orchestral and real recorded samples in different creative ways. So that's some really cool presets. Keys to Freedom, which I think will feature keys. Ooh, that's loud. So I like the step animator. That's pretty cool, but I like to turn it off and play. Keys to Reality. See, there's some movement within the sound, which I'm going to attribute to. I'm not sure where it is. I turn again. Explore where the sounds are coming from. Their piano sample is fantastic. This is something from the original Morphestra 1 and I think Morphestra Generations that I've really enjoyed, is this particular sample. So this has some movement, but it's delay. And this is more attack. So I'm guessing here we're getting some... Where's the movement coming from? It's fun to explore, but I don't explore too much on your time. Where we go. There's no LFO engaged here. That could just be part of the sound. If I change the tempo here. Okay, so it does change. It's not in the... it could be here. It's in the filters. There we go. There we go. Which... Can you actually... And you can control these from here as well. There you go. The animation is just volume. I'm just being so complicated. It's right here. You got to look at what's engaged. There you go. So now you can track this down. And that's what I'm talking about, is that if you track down what you're looking for, you can alter the sound quickly. Say, for example, here, number 2, we've got quite a lot of delay here. So I can turn off the delay. There's 2 delays. 3 delays, sorry. And there's yet another delay on the master. So now I've just got that sample, which is, I think, a bit of guitar samples mixed together. So. And go in there. Say I want to turn off the delay. Turn it off. And now I've just got the sound. Turn on the reverb. Put on something like... I like this. No pre-delay, you can just get... So yeah, a lot of fun, and I'm taking so much of your time. I'm so sorry. This is a cool little thing. It is basically your basic woodwinds. And like some tuba. Was there trombone? No, there's no trombone. So again, if you break it down, or whatever the key is, I don't know. And again, see here, for example, if I want to control this like I would an orchestral sample library, I'll put the velocity intensity on low, and I'll go with the filter, get rid of that velocity to high cut. And the most basic thing I can do is just control volume with the mod wheel. And as we said, automation, so just make it, because it stops about 50%, so make it from about 15 to 50. So now, oh, sorry. You can invert it as well, which is pretty awesome. And if I make this, the filter, respond to that, and just make the variation very subtle. Say 75% too. Can make it, even make this start at 25%. You can just make it woodwinds, no tuba. And of course, there's EQ as well here, which I think hypes up a bit of the... I'll turn it off. Or I can turn it down. Makes it sound a little more natural. Turn the release down. I like this. Turn off the delay. And you're down to the original sample. And then you can also, there's probably a script to make it mono as well, in Kontakt that you can pull off. I don't know how to interact with this, but I haven't tried, but I wouldn't try it. So now this is your natural kind of sample. Like only a little bit of tuba. And maybe I want to make the high cut even softer. So I wouldn't go to 100. I'd make it maybe stop at 75, start at 50. It's a bit... okay. Make it stop at 85. So now, let me see number 2, which I'll have to do the same thing again. But the thing is, you can save these presets under here and just reload them whenever you want. So that's pretty cool. Again, you're saving your own presets, and you could probably save the whole thing as a patch if you want. But considering the system they've operated, or they've put it in, so I would consider saving your presets this way. So again, turn off the velocity and sensitivity. I really like these Copeland winds. These are again from some of the original library. And again, it's probably got the velocity to high cut. I like playing it with it in that range. So what I might do actually is just get the MIDI, which is on core number 2. So put it from about 40 to 60. Make it even from 30 to 50. From 30, sorry. Not from 50. That inverse, but that's cool. Which means you can actually do these really cool crossfades this way. I'll even make it smaller, 30 to 40. Why even then? 30 to 35. So it's a really nice, slow movement, small movement. So now we've got 1 and 2, they work together this way. And let's put the reverb in this. It's already in the cathedral. So you can still make it kind of traditional if you know what you're looking for. And here's another cool thing. Now, if I wanted that velocity sensitivity, I'll just reset it here. This is the default. If I press Alt, as you can see, or Option on Mac, I'm guessing, I can change them all at the same time. So I press Alt, hold it down, and move it, and they're all down. Might be the same case here. Let me check. If I open up this, open up this, put this back, and now put this. There you go. You can do it all in the one go, which is a really neat feature. So right now, for this, we got the same. We've lowered the velocity sensitivity and the high cut velocity to high cut filter, all in one fell swoop. So now if we go number 3, and I think that's got the this gives it a nice fluty feel. And I might learn MIDI CC data, but I think with this one, because I think it's over here, with this one, what I might do is maybe make it from 85 to 100, maybe even 75 to 100. No, 60. Not even that. Just make it 80 to 100. And I can make the volume vary a little bit too. Which I think the last one here. Make it up to 50%. Make it up to starting from 40. Start from 30. Might lower the attack, increase the attack here. What am I doing? Turn on 4 for some reason. Or I've left 4 on, so. Here I could make that. That's a clarinet at 2 again. like where it is, so I'll make the movement very minimal. Say from about 10 to 30. No, make it probably start off at 25, finish it at 40. Now, together, what you're going to get is our own little woodwind section that kind of behaves like an orchestral one, but sounds quite interesting. Now, you wouldn't get legato, obviously, but you can do some really cool kind of chordal things. Now, what I would do probably is try to play this with a foot controller, but for some reason CC11 is mapped to this volume over here, which I don't like, and I'm not sure how to disengage. I'll have to find a way to do that, or ask the Sample Logic guys about a way to do that. But yeah. And say, for example, I'll mix it in with a woodwind section from Symphobia. So right here, woodwind ensemble. Just to see how it works. So here, for example, is... So this is Symphobia, and I'll just go up the reverb a little bit. I don't know if you can do... Anyway, that's not the point. And I'll mix it in with Morphestra. Might even lower the Symphobia part, because it's already pretty prominent, but you mix them together. If you just heard the Morphestra part on its own, Symphobia part on its own, then you can blend them. And try that, say, for example, with the CineSymphony Lite woodwind ensemble, which at the moment on its own sounds like this. It's got the mapping. Key switch map. That's what I like. I was so sure I had it on key switch map to begin with. Anyway. So that's your CineSymphony. And mix it in Morphestra. So you get a really nice blend of the real and the pseudo-real, if I may say so. So yeah, might just check my latency settings. They're messing with me right now. I think that should be fine now. Pops and clicks are coming from the latency. So now. So yeah, so there you go. Now I'm just gonna try to quickly flip through some. Got this so much I haven't gone through. A couple more instrumentals, and then I'll give you some of the other things. So Uptown Orchestra. Again, step animators on. So just, what else have we got? Wild Bill. And something from the top. More step animation. And you see these effects are time synced, and they might work well with the step animator. So here I might even get rid of the attack. So there's a lot of scope for customization, which is the whole point of what I'm trying to say. But the presets themselves sound fantastic. But that's what we're selling. We're selling an engine. Not we're selling. They're selling. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about an engine and a collection of sounds and ways to process them. Now, I don't get too hung up on the specific effects themselves because they're included with Kontakt. But the way they're incorporated into the interface and into the way you can manipulate these sounds and approach them, that's where the interest lies for me. So this is why I'm not going through all these presets. Maybe the convolution, because these are always usually custom, because I don't think you can actually sell a commercial library with the presets included in Kontakt. I don't think. I think I read that somewhere. But yeah, so they always include their own convolutions, which are pretty cool. But yeah. So here. And these are all the multi-cores as well. So like, you've got single-core versions of these that just focus on one of these, which is what we've been doing, kind of thing. But I might look at some of the presets quickly. Anyway, let's get some percussives. So just change pace a little bit. Bam, flim, flam. So a lot of cool stuff in there. So quickly have a look at what these sound sources are. There's a nice, really something that winds down, that pitches down. That's not. I'm guessing there's a reverb in there as well. Oh no. Okay. That's pretty cool. So already I can see what I'm doing here. If they turned, Law and Order into a horror show, this would be like the doink doink. Actually, if I turn this off. There you go. So, a lot of cool multi-core stuff. I really love this multi-core idea, and the fact is, you can also control. See here, the XY, for example. You've got presets as to how it moves, and you play it. So it can focus in on certain sounds as you go. And you can double time it as well. So. I wonder if there's a retrigger option. Retrigger long. So. So you can make it just respond to just retrigger. Or you can just make it kind of wait before it retriggers. So here, if I play a cool passage. So it'll do that. Now it knows that I'm going to play a separate thing. Or it just takes a while to loop. You can turn off the loop as well. So here. Or make it loop this way, which I think is, if I'm not right, I think it loops back. So that indicates the direction of this little bar right here, which is your steps, and give it a different kind of idea. Turn off the loop. So there's again with this, there's a lot you can do, and make it at double speed just to see what it does. Spirals out of control. So here, I think put it at that. So it's a lot of fun to be had, and you can do this on this level for a bunch of different things. So say if I turn it, on here, say for pan and high cut, and again you can use some of these presets. Square rooted, go speed at double, and turn the loop this way. And you can record your own as well here. Say, for example, if I just go, I think this is a reset. Let's record. Okay. I'm not sure about this, so that's probably something that is worth investigating even further. I didn't get a chance to investigate it here, but anyway, that is that's just something, I suppose. What am I doing here? Cool. Just a couple more percussives. So really some cool things here. Oh. Ew, what am I doing? Evil Villains 2. Evil Villains 1. I'm not sure why this one isn't loading. I think there might be an error with one of the presets, at least on my system. Not sure if that's universal. But yeah, Evil Villains 2. And if you turn off Step Animator, what are we hearing? So, lots of cool stuff going on. See, that's a cool, like, that's probably one of my more preferred animator presets. So yeah, those step animator presets. Let's go into some atmospheres. And as you can see, these make excellent use of these things. Like all these presets and these movements. Like Valley of the Lost. Let it be. Let it take its time. You could probably score, a portion of a scene with this, just with this patch. And you can animate all sorts of things to your liking throughout the whole thing. So there's a ton of things you can do. So say, for example, this thing, you can animate, put this to the mod. Oh, wait a second. Let me just delete all the automation we had before. So we'll put that to the mod wheel, and make it so it starts off this way. See what I mean? So you can start moving things within the same patch the way you like it. So yeah, that's I find that pretty cool. So you can do a lot with these, and again, alter the balances of these. Pick one part of it. Pick two parts of it. Even get rid of that part, which is like pretty... And see, they recorded some of these are even some really cool performances from the get-go. So you are getting a lot more than just an orchestra with sound design, which is something I'm really, really, really enjoying about this library. Oh, it's a pretty amazing stuff. This is I just admire sound designers so much because of what they do, because they do stuff like this, and then they offer it to composers, and the composers can then get more creative with it. This is I really tip my hat to the Sample Logic guys for what they've done. See, I think part of what they've done here is from Morphestra 1 and Morphestra Generations, they've just tried to give you as much control as possible. They've taken advantage of this control with these awesome ways, But they have just gone way in. It's like, okay, you want to control everything? We will let you control every little thing, even more than we have before. And that is pretty up there. And I think it does set a fantastic standard. Because then no composer will ever feel locked in to the sound that the developers have decided. And to further that, you can also use the amount of sounds. If you end up finding the presets all on their own, which in fact you can actually do. So say I can reinitialize. So this is just as it comes. I'll turn on one patch, turn off all the effects, and load in something here. So say, for example, atmospheres, mixed emotions, bedtime dreams, and make that the... Okay. And then turn all of this off. So all I'm getting is the raw sound. I'd say re-record this into your sequence, and then you can edit it as an audio file and really get creative with it. So you're not just taking advantage of what happens in Kontakt. If they provided these sounds as WAV files, which they don't because there's a locked library, I would have loved that, but that'd mean a lot of samples. So it's probably easier to do this way and choose what you want. So you can do some really cool stuff with that. So yeah, multi-core. We've done instrumentals. So one-note combos. This is the ultimate. You have to turn in the score in 1 hour, and they've just changed about 20 minutes of the sequence. And go, kind of thing. So you just play one of these. So obviously there's a lot of loops here. You got these loops, which is number 4. Just getting the movement happening. Ghost busting. As you can see. So a quick guide. You got instrumentals, atmospheres, percussives, atmospheres, loops, atmospheres, and loops. So say number 1 is an atmosphere and a loop together. Just make the whole thing. And then this is... and 3 is just loops. And no step animator either. So... again, one-note combos, and then you can just do a lot with them. So, Operation Freedom. Jessica Jones. That's a great show, by the way. If you haven't watched it yet, get on Netflix and watch it. Yeah, I can see it. Oh, God. Ooh. So here again. So we've got the first one is instruments and loops. I really like to do this. And you could probably do this where you just automate the volumes of these layers, and then you can get a quick sequence happening. So You got atmosphere. You got. So you can even start with the atmosphere and automate these volumes. And then just sequence kicks off. And you can get something happening quickly. Now it's up to you how far or how, I suppose, not far you want to go with this. But, you know, the thing is for speed, this is fantastic. For speed writing. And sometimes some of those deadlines can kill you. So this is, again fantastic. I can just go for days. Let me have just a quick look at the single core presets. And again, we've been hearing a lot of those. But say, for example, here I can get atmospheres, bizarre atmospheres. So something like Abigail's Music Box. You just play one note and see what it sounds like. And you've got the morphing movement happening here as well. So again, see, this is what you got. This is the single core view. And what else you got? You got so single core, broken communications. The Conjuring 3 Sample Logic's Exorcism. I don't know, I've never seen The Conjuring. Music Box Mayhem. So you see some really cool stuff in there. Dark and mysterious. So these atmospheres are nothing to I don't know what the word is. They're nothing to scoff at. They're fantastic. Solar Moon. There's a lot within this library to just write in any way you want, really. And that's what I admire, a library that operates on the basis of freedom. You got electronic stuff, which I think here is taking advantage of the LFOs in some way. In which sound source? You could just go in for days and it's getting the advantage of the morph animator. So there's a lot that's been done, but then a lot that you can do. Ice Planet. This is just core hot sequence like this. And these mixed emotions, for instance. So again, as I said, there's a lot in the atmospheres themselves, and you can just sample that and play with it and put it into Omnisphere, put it into something else, put it into some other synthesizer that takes samples. You got these cool stingers. As I said, you could be extremely lazy and score whole sequences with this. Let's see something like that. It could be just a little nice color for a very short part of this, part of your track. Ewok flute effects. That's just and flute trills. See, that's the thing. These are some of the orchestral sounds that you really get recorded. So it's not just as instruments, but also as effects. Guitar battle. Inca Trail. Lonesome guitars. So there's a lot to explore in here. World Organic. Eastern Tensions. God. Yeah, that's just gotta offend someone at some point. I would have preferred they call this, I don't know, Syria or something. Don't call it jihad. That's okay. Sorry, that's just me being Middle Eastern about it. Oh, Lord. It's a great sound with an unfortunate name. Sorry, guys. So some really cool stuff here. There's some effects happening there, I'm gonna guess. But yeah. Say if I just go for the... With the filters... As the effects chain. There we go. In the context of that, it might work differently, but yeah. Anyway, instrumentals. So arpeggiated, just quickly. These, a lot of them I think we'll take from the step animator, yep. As you can see, each one has the two sound sources, and if you can use one sound source. And of course, I can turn it off, and now I've just got a little nice music box. again, you got more animations here. If I turn it off, I get a really cool instrument. So don't skip through the arpeggiated thinking, oh, well, I'm not going to use an arpeggiated thing. You can still find some cool stuff in there. Oh, turn it off, sorry. Because they got their own little combinations, which are pretty cool. Pizziplaco. I wish I were Jordan Rudess in this instance. He'd have fun with a sound like this. I don't know why, I just hear him do stuff like that. I really like this. Because it's step animator and what's going on in the LFOs. If I turn the LFO off. And there must be something in the effects happening as well. Oh god, it's just this. Oh, and there's an LFO in the volume here as well. And oh god, you can get lost trying to explore some of this stuff in that single chord here. And there's a step animator to this as well. Oh, for the love of God. An effects animator. I completely skipped over that. But yeah, it's like they give you kind of too much control that you're like, okay, what is happening that I can't control? Then, hey, here's the way to control it. It's beautifully maddening. So yeah, bells and mallets very quickly. Cathedral Hour. Ooh. Commercial vibes. So some of these bells are really nice. They don't sound too old school at all. They just sound really like beautiful bells that can be used in a modern context without sounding cheesy. This is sometimes what I worry about with bells and mallets, is that they can sound cheesy. whatever they recorded for this, because some of these names don't tell you what's actually in it. It's a really great combo. Gentle Steel. Sounds. I'm gonna guess. Like it's got a hang drum in there, definitely. Could be mixed in with a steel drum, but I couldn't tell you. And you got glocks as well. A glockenspiel. And Glock sustained. Hanging with the piano, I guess hang drum and piano. Or, you know, that's what it sounds like. House of Horror. Is this supposed to sound like creepy? Oh, that's the end of the sample. Mallet Nation. Modern Monk. There's really cool stuff in there. Like, I would have underestimated the bells and mallets when I got this, but I was like pleasantly surprised. And xylophone. Play it with the sustain pedal down or with the release up. You got keys. The Aura piano. That's the piano step I was talking about. Now it's designed to be played. It's designed to be played sustained. When I had it in the older version, I was trying to get it with release samples and just all these release tricks, and it just wasn't working for me. But the sample itself, I think it's just a piano with the pedal held down. So it's got a really beautiful resonance. And through this engine, it sounds fantastic. But I just wish I could kind of even do fake releases where you just... That's a whole other topic. Anyway, doesn't matter. Aurora piano. It's like Aura piano with something else. With pads. For some glorious 80s fun. Some of these sounds, though, they're just funny. But they could work for whatever context. And that's the beauty of working in film and video games and that kind of thing. You never know what is going to be asked of you next. Hard times. I really enjoy things with software attacks for some reason. Or that sound kind of warm. So with these sound sources, that rich and warm and rich sound source seems to make quite a bit of an appearance. So Master of Baroque. See, that's really interesting. I don't quite like. So I even turned it out. Turn up the. Anyway, that's just some fun Radio Star. I think that's the song. Video Killer Radio Star. So some really cool sources. You got strings. Now this is where you get some of the orchestral, the strings and the winds. That's the actual orchestra. So Apollo's Creed. This is one of the Morphestra, the original Morphestra. Big bass. It's actually a bass, just a bass guitar. So strings isn't just orchestral string. And quite a few effects being applied here. Cinematic Passion. That's your more vocal one. Which I think with the filter. And with the reverb, actually. So I'll put it in the piano. So I can still keep the... Go to the cathedral again. And then you can engage mod wheel control and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot to be done, but great sound sources. Ethnitar. Yeah, just play it like a keyboard though. Ethnopids. Again, I don't like the word ethno because it just means other, and it's just like, Anyway. I understand how it's used in music, but even then, I remember having a whole studying about it. I'm just like, is an ethnomusicology kind of offensive, to be honest? But that's besides the point. Let's see the harp. That's a great... See, again, the sound sources, they're not super detailed, but they're fantastic. Harpists are probably going to kill me. They're like, oh god, he's playing the harp like a piano. Don't write like that. Stuff like this, Lifetime strings. This is a Lifetime movie. Magic strings. Molto romantico. A lot of filtering happening there with the velocity. And reverber. I like this reverberant thing. Sanctuary Solace. Strings big. There you get the more. There you go. There's the strings. Strings medium. Small. The Spiccato. That's very synthy. That's as I said, it's not super detailed, but the whole point is that it can add a bit of an edge. And when you have these samples recorded from originally recorded with strings, you can go to something like this. Say, for example, CineSymphony Lite with the Arco ensemble, and make that. So with the real strings, combine them, and in this case, you'd put Morphestra lower. There. Yeah, a little bit of edge. Although this is a bit synthy at that point. Maybe with the strings medium. So you just mix it in and kind of give it a little bit of an extra touch. So string straights. Tremolo. And some more thing. Two-toned. Okay, so that's just the presets. And wootsy chord. So yeah, and synthesizers, so I don't know if it's just like, it's a combination. And again, some of these sounds, to me, sometimes some of these sounds can be cheesy, but then some of them can, you might need something that asks for cheesy. Oh god, those names, Bach, Sweat, Dream. Cherubrock. Some of these things are really cool. got a lead. I wonder if there's a mono button you can actually just implement into this to make these leads kind of fun. Ooh, this is kind of grating as well. Which, again, depending on your context, can work. Part of the Lost Planet. Power wins. Reversing time. And again, see, something like that, you could just bounce it and then play with it in your sequencer as a WAV file or an AIFF file if you're on a Mac. I do apologize for the length of this. It's just there is so much in there, and I could have made it shorter, but I'm just, again, this is me kind of asking you to join me on the fun. So you see, as you can see, there's some old school ways of using these woodwinds. And I like this. So you got Copeland winds, which is like. So you could totally, again, just engage it with the mod wheel. So these winds are really cool. Brass piano, because winds also includes brass, so. Cinnabone. Climax brass. Oh god. And I'm guessing if we get the EQ. Here. Oh, the high. There we go. Wow, that's pretty pretty bright. I like this. Dark Nights and then Dark Nights Fallen. It's like, if I'm guessing the whole point is, okay, here's the brass from like Batman Begins and the Dark Knight. And then Dark Night Fallen has like the same kind of thing in synth. So yeah, Distant Triumphs. Dumbledore's Calling. I love it when you just like when people do this. It's hilarious. Fantasy finished. So really, again, it's not just that they've recorded woodwinds and said, hey, here they are, now mess them up in the interface. It's sometimes the way they've been processed as the WAV files that are included. Gotham brass. This is one of the old ones. Horns. Horns light. Oh, horn spiccato. There you go. And horns vibrato. This is where you get the bulk of the actual original sounds. Nottingham brass. March of the Titans. This is one of the old ones as well, I think. National bravado. Sounds like... For the release time. Olympus. Peace in mind. And see, you got some really, really nice... I like subtlety. Pirates Cove. And simple flutes. This is nice. It doesn't loop though, I think. Strident brass. There's a lot in here. So loops, we've heard a whole bunch of them, but you can really get down to what's there. So say for example, exit found, this big action-packed one. Gotta run. As you can see, they're mixed in with the two sound sources. So these loops, again, they're all baked in, but you can even add in stuff from the step animator. But that's pretty cool. Again, you can rebounce them and cut them up and do whatever you want with them. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Electronic. It's really cool stuff. Low flux. So you can completely just use that underneath a cue. I wonder if there's a way to within here to actually make it so that the loop kind of continues. Again, it's just like a loop legato, but you know, I don't think that's part of the. Oh no, what am I doing? Under here. To make it so that you can change the key while keeping the loop going. So that's probably something I would request. And then you got like some light ones that can use as hi-hats. Really nice ticky ones. You know, I'm just thinking like strings under the. Something like that, you know. And then you got some melodic loops. So some of them are nice and octave. And here some of them actually have their own kind of harmonic progression. And what I would do is I would love to just resample this, so record it, and then just take little bits and pieces of it and just chuck it into different ways. See what I mean? It's a Jaws attack. Music box fantasies. I just wish they had minor and major variations of some of these. So like if you're gonna put in a minor key, put in a major key so I can use it. That's all I'm asking. And some of them combine two different loop sound sources. So that's fantastic. Got pop hops, so pop and hip hop. Right. Ooh, see, already I can do something with this. I could do like. Between a rock and a hard place, found myself between my honor and my disgrace. Caught up between my love and the foe. I face a race against the clocks while I run out of time and time. So stuff like that, you know, you can just rap on top of it. So. In time for my own demise, I spy the side of the sniper's eyes, but I ain't gonna be. Kind of stuff like that, you know? And then you can just mix them together and then add some more percussion on top of it, because you got also single percussion hits. Rock puffs. Cymbal land. I love this. And you got some organic ones. Barbaric. Ugh. So you add in some ethnic percussion is suddenly barbaric. So some of these names are like not my cup of tea, but that's just a personal thing. So that's a really cool collection of things there. Kill them all! Out of time. Before that is Orchestral Wild. So that's really fun. Ragavan Mountains. So you still feel that there's a bit of a harmony implied in there. So some really cool loops. And then you got percussive things, and they're all divided into arpeggiated things. So which we'll probably use the step animator. But of course can be used separately. Railroad crossing. So as I said, don't discount something that's arpeggiated if you don't want to use an arpeggio. You can just use what's in it. You got impacts. So you've heard a whole bunch of this stuff in the multi-core. Big effing boom, I love it. This is a big effing boom. Boom ball. You got kits as well. So cinematic metal, something like that. It's, again, a lot of extremely useful stuff. Low blow. So different samples mapped out to different keys. Metal suspense hits. Power strikes. So as you can see, the collection doesn't stop. Utility garage, this is fun. Mash on everything you have in the garage. Water phones. World percussion kits. Yeah. So then you got transitions. Stuff like that. Again, I wish these, for example, were supplied as WAV files, which I don't think they are. So I'll look like an idiot if they actually are, because you just then import them back into your track and stretch them out or just cut them off where you need to. So there's a ton of things. Oh, Lord. Put it this way. This is probably a great a great note to end on. Is if you have a library like this with all of these options available, and this is the only library you use, and you cannot come up with something half decent, then I don't know, you need to work on your music. Because as far as a toolbox of a multitude of things, Morphestra 2 offers way so much. Just takes it's a matter of organizing yourself and getting familiar with it. And as you can see, it's going to be a couple of hours just to get through, just skim a bunch of the presets and not even cover every aspect of the library and every aspect of the engine, because it's just, I cannot do that without keeping you here for another 2 hours. So basically, for $500 and you get all of this, if this is the first time you're buying the library, or if you're just getting the cross grade, I'd say the crossgrade is worth it just to get all of this functionality the way it is right now. Because even Morphestra Generations had a lot of this functionality, but it wasn't nearly as extensive as this. So, Morphestra 2, worth the $500? Yes. You can do a hell of a lot. It's not going to be your traditional orchestral library, although in some respect you can use some of the orchestral sounds in a traditional manner to an extent. They're not super detailed, but that's not the point. The point is there are sound sources to be manipulated and do all kinds of stuff with. And yeah, I just think they have really provided you with a massive toolbox of things, and there is no shortage of fun to be had. There's no shortage of music you can write with this, with these sounds. And honestly, like, we live in a beautiful golden age of creativity where the tools like this are so available, so readily available. And something like this 10, 20 years ago wouldn't have been at $500. It would have been a lot costlier, with a lot less detail and a lot less sound. You hear these stories of these gigasamplers and things that cost us thousands of dollars and that kind of thing, and didn't have nearly as much flexibility as what we have today. So yeah, if you haven't picked it up, I recommend picking it up. If for anything you've heard that you like in here, I think it's there's a lot more that it can offer than what you've seen. So as I said, I've got a couple of gripes, which is with this view only being available for the first one, not for any of the presets. I wish there was. And I think a couple of the presets are a bit buggy. But that's nothing that can't not be fixed. And it's not a showstopper by any means. And yeah, if you've stuck it out with me till now, then I really salute you. And I also apologize for keeping you here so long. Just, yeah. Anyway, I hope this has been useful in some measure, or entertaining in any measure. And I hope that you come away with a much better idea of what Morphestra 2 is and what you may be able to create with it. So yes, have an awesome day, night, time, wherever you are, and crank out some awesome music. We'll see you guys on the next one.